So here we're going into the office of Senator Patrick Leahy, and we are going to talk to him about the F-35.
Hi, how are you? I'm Sarah.
Hi Sarah, my name is Jennifer Decker.
Nice to meet you.
I have come to drop off a couple of documents.
Okay, great.
And we had an ally here yesterday who also dropped off a document about our concerns about Senator Leahy's coercion and interference with the F-35 basing process at the Burlington, Vermont airport. I'm here with a number of other groups in solidarity, and so the groups are here, and I would like for the senator to know that we have 36 groups in alliance with our effort to stop the basing of the F-35.
Okay.
In addition, dropping off the same document he received yesterday,
Okay.
and this was created with help and support from Save Our Skies, a local Vermont group.
Okay.
And then I also have a document that is also going to the Office of the Inspector General of the U.S. Department of Defense about our concerns that this basing also violates the military's own rules of war. It's unacceptable to put civilians in harm's way for the sake of a military basing project. So that's something that we need the senator to take very seriously. And I would also just like to be sure that the senator knows what we're demanding.
Okay.
And we're demanding a full investigation into the lies and corruption and unethical behavior that he engaged in during the basing process in Burlington. And I also wanted to let you know some of the specific demands that we have. So our specific demands are that we demand that the F-35A has at least 1 million flight hours prior to the basing. We demand that the Air Force, Federal Aviation Administration, and City of Burlington officials conduct a public hearing in which we can address the discrepancies between the Air Force reports and the conclusion. This basing was actually preferred to be at a different base by the Air Force itself, but Senator Leahy interfered with that. We demand that funding is secured to purchase almost 3,000 homes in the impacted area where children and elderly people live. We demand a public hearing that will be held with qualified independent health and safety experts to address the hearing impacts and other health impacts that will accrue to the population. The planes can cause brain damage because they're so loud, and they can cause learning problems that can last a lifetime, and there is a school less than a mile from the airport. So those demands must be heard, and we're here to make sure that Senator Leahy gets that message. In addition, we would also like the Department of Defense to provide us with detailed information on the nuclear role of the F-35 and the implications of this for all Vermonters. And then we need an investigation, as stated, into the falsification of data and the improprieties engaged in by Senator Patrick Leahy during the course of this basing decision. And we've asked him to sign, if he could, our demands and recognize that that he received these demands from his constituents today.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is contact one of our staffers to let them know that you are here, one of our more senior staffers, and they'll be able to respond to this. So if you'll just hold on one moment, I'm going to contact our staffers, okay?
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And while we're waiting, you are from that area? How close do you
I'm
live
from
to
South Burlington, and I live less than 2 miles from the airport, and I am in a position myself of being disrupted in terms of my life. I feel personally impacted by the level of noise, even though I'm technically outside of the noise zone. Hearing a machine that is supposed to be used for war right in my own neighborhood, and knowing the implications of that across the board in terms of how it's impacting school children, the elderly, and people of all ages in terms of health impacts, knowing that there's teachers teaching at that school who will be disrupted in terms of educating students multiple times a day. Those things impact me when I'm living my day-to-day life and put me in a position, along with many others who are directly impacted in terms of their health, of making decisions to move and leave and tear apart the fabric of our community that we rely on and that we love. This is where I live. This is my home. I love Vermont. I don't want to have to move. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has supported our effort in banning the basing of the F-35 airplanes in Vermont. And we expect Patrick Leahy to reverse his decision because it is unacceptable to put civilians at risk. And those of us in the community have been working very hard on this for many years, raising many concerns about our fellow community members. And we need Senator Patrick Leahy to cancel the basing. We do not want the airplanes in Vermont.
So Senator Leahy has a reputation of being this Mr. Nice Guy here. Why would he be pushing for the F-35 to be based in Vermont?
That is a huge mystery to many of us. There are many reasons that are given, some of which are inaccurate. And so that's some of what's addressed in our document. That, for an example, I think one of the lies that's been told is that the Air National Guard would have zero mission if they didn't have the F-35s in Burlington. That's actually not true. The Air National Guard would remain and would be given a mission. There's never been a National Guard that has ever been canceled in any state of this country at any time. So
they were saying that the F-35 was needed if you wanted to keep the jobs for people in the National Guard?
That's what they were saying, and it wasn't actually true, because in fact more jobs will be given to people elsewhere because of F-35 maintenance can't be done in Burlington because we don't have the specialized equipment. In addition, our runway there is very, very short. That means that the plane will often be taking off with afterburners, and the afterburner use was originally projected to be about 5% of the time. It's now being projected to be 50% of the time, which increases the noise impact beyond what is been noted previously, and is the reason why we've demanded a supplemental environmental impact statement at this time, because there's new information out now that we didn't have before.
And so what are some of the other reasons that people speculate as to why the senator is insisting on this, and actually it seems like changed some of these documents or gave some false information?
Unfortunately, it seems like old-fashioned political cronyism. There's a lot of money to be made by knocking down low-income, affordable housing and putting up a big hotel. We've spoken to the mayor in Burlington, and we've let him know that there's only one good name for that hotel, and that's Hearing Loss Hotel. There is no way that this hotel could ever be a safe place for people to stay, and many of us activists are talking about warning passengers away from the Burlington airport, because even if you're just passing through the airport, if you hear the F-35 take off, depending on your level of vulnerability to that, it could cause permanent hearing damage in one event. For many people it might take more, but who wants to stick around and wait?
Is there any money that the senator gets from, like, Lockheed Martin or any of these weapons makers?
Yeah, he does. He is in cahoots with Lockheed Martin, and he does get campaign donations from them.
So that could be another possibility.
Right.
So anything else you want to let people who are watching this know, how they can be of help?
Well, I would love if folks could reach out to People for Peace and Security, which is peopleforpeace@gmail.com, or you can reach me at 802-922-0316 by text or message.
Okay, we'll put that in the text of this live stream. And we just want to say that we're here in solidarity with you and the people of Burlington who are going to be so impacted by this. And we know that you've been fighting for a long time. We've been hearing about this for many years. And we're sorry that your senator is not representing the best interests of the people in Vermont by insisting on this weapon, which, by the way, has the most incredible cost overruns of any weapon in U.S. history and is the most expensive weapon ever in U.S. history, supposed to be costing us over $1 trillion by the end. And so I don't think this should be based in Vermont, but we also think that we shouldn't be spending such an enormous amount of our tax dollars on yet another weapon that not only is so expensive and has these cost overruns, but cannot perform the functions that it supposedly said they were going to be able to do. And do either of you want to add something before we sign off?
Well, the sign we made is no F-35 in Vermont, and I would add, or anywhere.
Do you want to add something, Pat?
Yes, I live across the creek from the Webster Field Annex to the Patuxent River Naval Air Test Center in southern Maryland. And although the Air Base Webster Field can't accommodate the F-35, the F-35 does do occasional flyovers. And my dock is about 3,000 feet from where the F-35 does an amazing vertical turn to the sky, and I have heard it, and all you can do is put your head between your legs and just cover your ears. It is a threatening and foreboding abomination of a noise.
So you are don't want it where you live, and you don't think the Vermonters should have to hear that either.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Thank
Would
you,
you like to-
Jennifer.
Thank
Great job.
you.
No, that's great.